Welcome to the Game Award, the absolute best podcast for white gamers, their families, and absolutely nobody else. You all are going to notice something interesting today. We're going to have the cleanest episode we've ever done because we decided we wanted to join a cult. Spelled KVLT, the proper way as opposed to any other fake game companies that might want to call themselves cult games. And we're joined by our high priest and the head man himself, Roland. How you doing?
Hello, doing fine. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for having me.
And Edmund.
Yeah, nice to meet you. We've just sort of rushed out of meetings and now we're straight onto this.
Yep, excellent.
Yes, we just had a team meeting directly coming from that.
Excellent, very nice. Gotta love it. So guys, go ahead and give a brief synopsis of who you are and what you do while I get that gameplay we were talking about set up.
So my name is Roland. I'm the founder of Cult Games. I'm lead developer, and I guess CEO is probably the appropriate title of Cult Games. I'm at this point more project manager than programmer, but I still do coding. And yeah, that's about it, I guess. Edmund, what do you?
I'm Edmund. I've been an alcoholic for 8 years, so it's good to finally be here. It's a big step. No, I'm like sort of a narrative director. I was one of the first guys to hop on board when I'm Defender came out. Originally offered to just do some QA, but ended up doing a bit of everything: pixel art, writing, graphic design, trailers, you name it.
Very nice, very nice. Let me see. There we go. I believe that's got it up. Now, all right, guys. So, I'm sure Courier has a few questions for you, real quick, that he wanted to ask.
I do. The first one I wanted to ask: what is it like developing games in countries where it's illegal to engage with reality?
Yeah, I don't know. Who should start? Well, maybe for me briefly. So, I mean, it's we leaned into the whole thing with our first game, Heimat Defender, which I mean back then pretty much made myself still, which was very explicitly political, and we kind of back then I tested out how far I could go, so to say. And it caused quite a ruckus. There were it got banned in Germany, and there were lots of articles written about it and so on. And I low-key did expect that maybe, I don't know, I would get into some legal trouble. Thankfully that didn't happen. So that kind of put us on the scene, and I'll be quite honest here, we obviously used the controversy to become known, as a sort of marketing, essentially. But then it also became quite clear that you can't do that forever. So with the next game, The Great Rebellion, we tried to focus more on making an actual game that people would play, even if they weren't so interested in the political side of things. And it wasn't so much that we self-censored because we thought we would get into trouble for it, but it was just that as we were developing the game, it became a bit less blatantly political, and therefore also a bit less dangerous for us, so to say. I guess it was more like a side effect of that, just because that's a topic we've been talking a lot, and we've also just been talking about it in the meeting that we had, the whole political content / propaganda versus just making good games, just making good art. How do you combine these things? How should we handle that? And that's a whole other topic, I guess. So to come back to your original question, it's kind of it's not just about making games that I, in an environment where I can't engage with reality. I just generally can't do that. I can't always say what I think. I have to self-censor. That's just reality in Europe where we live.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I hated. I wish it wasn't like that, but you arrange with it because you have to. I guess the alternative would be to move away, which I don't want to. So you learn to do probably what people living in the Soviet Union or so also had to do, speak in codes and references, be very careful, how to express yourself. I have like this constant thing running in my head where I always, basically think about like, could what I'm saying be used against me? It's just something you learn over time. It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a case of the better the game got, the more you're leaning into that side anyway. Fundamentally, I think a lot of people forget we love games. We create games. We always have done. We've worked for games companies. Roland's released 4 games himself. So at the end of the day, there is an element of what one person would call propaganda is just we have views, we exist, we are people, and we are perfectly within our rights to hold opinions, hold views, or speak to objective reality. So, a lot of the time it's not what you say, it's the way that you say it as well, especially as someone who lives currently in Starmer's Britain. And yeah, you do just reach a point of actually we want to make games because we want to make games, and we are people with a certain viewpoint. And if these are democracies with a left and a right, then I'm perfectly allowed to be on the right. So, fuck you, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the thing is just like this is what it all comes down to, and how I personally view this at this point with my personal attitude towards this is, I don't care about like making right-wing games. I am right-wing, and I want to make games, and I just know that this will, in one way or another, trickle down into the game. The artist's worldview will always shape the art he makes, and it's almost can't be avoided. But I'm not like trying to force it or anything. If I want to make a cool dungeon crawler game because I like dungeon crawlers, and I liked Eye of the Beholder and Dungeon Master when I was a kid and played it growing up, then that's why I want to make that game, and that's about it. And I'm also right-wing, so I don't know, see how that affects the game, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all very fair. I mean, that reminds me of the concept of the magic circle from the book Homo Ludens, or Those Who Play, which I only know about because I played the first Death Stranding, and they talk about it a lot because, Kojima will, like, focus on one thing, and he'll hyper put that into his game and somehow make everything work, But,
that was kind of his obsession at the time.
Yeah, where the idea is, okay, in all sorts of play, there is the magic circle of the play area, like you play cowboys and Indians and stuff like that, where the idea is, okay, we are entering into this area where we suspend reality, but the magic circle is perforated. So what happens within the game, and obviously from without the game, will affect the game, or as you say, the artist will always be reflected in the art. But it's really interesting that we're having this conversation on the 4th of July, because it is, I mean, even though I talk with a lot of guys from different countries, it is still so jarring for me as an American, born bred, to hear somebody say, oh yeah, we can't say anything, or like, we'll get arrested, because over here, we're like, especially today of all days, somebody doesn't say, oh, you can't say this, you're going to arrest you. You can suck my star-spangled nuts. Now hold this M80 while I set it off, We gonna see fireworks today, boy.
I mean, it's America Day. If you're not drunk handling firearms, like, what are you doing? Firearms and
you guys got the perfect gift as well. You got 20 billion or something twice on the same day.
Exactly, yeah. But no, it's actually it is quite jarring. It's great because I played the Great Rebellion, and we're gonna show another game off. We might get to it, but there was one enemy I did want to ask about. There's this. Let me see if I can pull him up here on the Google.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see. Enemies in the Great Rebellion. Let's see. Oh, okay. Video game Google, please come on. I thought I trained you by now.
Is that him there, the green one in that thumbnail?
No, not the boss enemies. There's one like basic enemy. He acts like the booze in the Mario games. Where like it looks like a dude with like a bandana across his face, and he's chasing you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was just looking at that, and I was like, wow, he's got the bandana, and he's chasing you. Like, this reminds me of those cholos, those Mexican gangsters from back in the days. Because I've done a lot of work along with I'm not gonna find it there. I've done a lot of work personally with both states and private security jobs. And I can't tell you how many times it was always like there'd be a bunch of those guys just hanging around wearing their bandanas, and they would like follow you up and down. Like you're just walking around, chilling, whatever. You're on your lunch break, and they're following you, talking a whole bunch of shit until you turn around, like you're going to confront them, and all of a sudden they run away. I'm like, wait, have they been here? Have they been watching me work?
Okay, that is interesting. That is okay.
It's-
Yeah, I mean,
it-
you know what? That is. I'll put my media literacy enjoyer hat on and tell you that this is a totally valid interpretation, of course, even though it was not the authorial intent. No, yeah, okay, that's really interesting. I mean, that works. No, but the original idea was that they're basically Antifa, because Antifa is a bunch of
got you.
cowards. They're a bunch of cowards that will attack you if you're not looking. It's actually something that happened to me personally at one point. I did get like jumped by a bunch of Antifa like some years ago. So yeah, that was the original inspiration.
And we get that, and we've had that happen here where we've got like we've seen all the videos like they go jump a guy, and then some other guy steps in, and all of a sudden they're scared, or they'll only swing from behind. You know.
Yeah, they're cowards. Like that was also my personal experience, I guess. You know, that shaped it a bit in a way. I got attacked like by a group of 5 or 6 guys when I wasn't looking, and you know they're always attacking in mobs and.
Oh yeah, well it's a good. I must say it's a good thing.
Was attacked in a park at night as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, generally, yeah, there are a few people on our team who have made experiences, and not even because they're like whatever, like such massive activists or something, but it's just something that happens over time.
Oh
yeah,
and like
you live here,
it's good that you gave them like gray skin instead of darker skin, because you know over in America we have something called the knockout game.
I heard about that. Yeah.
They still do it actually.
Really?
Oh yeah, they still do it. A couple years back, I was actually at a state fair where they were shooting off fireworks, and an old man actually died because of it. And they tried to say, oh, he was being racially whatever. And the guy was like buying cotton candy for his granddaughter, and they filmed themselves online like, yo, we're gonna play a knockout game. We're gonna knock this old man out, and rolled up and cracked him.
Damn.
Yeah, and unfortunately he died from his injuries.
Really? Oh god.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason they made the news, was because you know it's a state fair, and unfortunately around here, especially when large groups of certain people show up at any event like that, fights just happen. You know.
Yeah.
It's almost like violence is inherent to them, but of course,
yes,
that's a silly idea, right?
That's completely crazy. Don't ever suggest that again.
I think
How
it's
dare
probably
you, sir.
economic factors. Yeah.
Yes, major economic factors, of course. But speaking of economic
Well, it's
factors,
also just their culture, and we should respect that, I'm sure.
Of course. Speaking of economic factors, let's go ahead and let's look at this this game right here. Let me pull up the actual.
It's actually kind of funny because that's an old. Is that still? We're gonna have a new website very soon because it's a very old. Actually, those are very old graphics, and you can even see this is an old version of the Great Rebellion. It's like an alpha version. Obviously, the game looks completely different.
Yeah, let me go ahead.
Yeah, there's great-rebellion.com, but there's also cult.games.
Yeah, our new website is actually cult.games. Yeah.
Yes, cult.games.
Yeah, this is the cultgames.com. This is the old one, which we will soon. Actually, it should already be redirected. Yeah, whatever. We'll soon redirect to cult.games without com, just cult.games.
All right. Here we go.
Yeah, that's our new. That's the actual.
Yeah, here we go. Cult.games, everybody. Go ahead. I see you there, Caliber. How you doing? Over on Odyssey. Yeah. So, now, of course, I think it's on sale on Steam, but I suggest everybody go to their website and buy it like I did. You know, because do you still have to have it censored a bit for Steam?
I mean, honestly, yeah, it still is actually. The Steam version is actually still the censored version. At this point, we were a bit paranoid, so we thought like, maybe let's put a bit of a censored version on Steam. It probably doesn't actually matter. I have to say that I'm positively when we released the Great Rebellion, I was positively surprised by how little deplatforming we actually faced. Thankfully, except for the one thing with Germany, that the game got region locked in Germany, that happened. But we had like big like fears that they would completely deplatform us again and so on. Thankfully, that didn't happen. We are still on Steam and we are still on GOG actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's very good. So
The,
you guys,
the main thing is, of course, if you buy it from our website, we will get the full amount, and because Steam takes 30%.
yes, and
Does
also
GOG
of course.
take a percentage, or
Sorry.
does GOG take?
Yeah,
a
they also
percentage
take
from you
30%.
guys?
They take the same.
Ah.
It's
That-
both
I
that's-
do think
30%.
though the Steam version's got more content now. I think it's actually got more updates in it.
No, we actually have been careful to like they should all be on the same.
Because
level.
Right, they're all
well,
up now.
The
Cool.
only thing is, of course, with the website version, you don't have cloud save, obviously.
yeah, because I'm gonna say when I booted it up earlier, it did say that it was making sure to update. But yeah, you to buy it now, uncut and uncensored. Everybody, go ahead and do it right now online. Like, I'm just pulling up the thing right now. 1683.
Yes, I can tell you why we chose that specific. That's a reference to the, date, to the year when Vienna got when the Turks were defeated, when the Ottomans were defeated, when they were in the siege of Vienna. That was in 1683, so that's why.
Right,
I did-
Valkyries.
That's cool.
Yes.
I did not know that. That's actually really cool. All right, people,
Yeah.
So,
buy it from the website just for the meme payment. Come on.
yes, that alone
Yes, but
should justify it.
looking
Right.
at
I mean, it
what
is-
we're about to
it
look
is
at now.
currently... Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and sorry, don't let me interrupt you. I'm an American. It's the 4th of July. I will talk over people. It's just what we do.
It's fine.
And I do it
Yeah.
anyway.
So since I just saw that you have the okay. So what should we talk about? Should we talk about the new games or what we are up to currently?
Yes,
Start
let's
with the last guy.
let's start with the last guy. We do have the trailer here that I'll play real quick while I finagle with things. Well, we'll see a stupid advertisement because I don't pay for YouTube Premium. And now we'll see the
That's why you gotta use Brave or Leave.
I was just going to say like just use Brave.
Yeah.
Lost count.
So I currently don't have audio, but I guess in the stream you do.
Yeah, it would be echoing if that was the case.
Yeah. If he shares audio, we'd be hearing ourselves because Telegram.
To wake up.
So I gotta say, this trailer, the aesthetics here, they remind me a lot of like Halo 1.
And for that,
Yeah,
Yeah.
massively.
That was definitely one of the inspirations, aesthetically speaking.
Engaging redemption protocol.
Yeah, like the bottom of his pod in the next sort of second is heavily inspired by the colour of water doors.
Oh yeah, there we go.
All right, yep, that's pretty cool there. Hey, Cross, I see you there. How you doing? We got our one of our biggest fans with us. All thing right there. Let's go ahead and I'm just keeping an eye on the chats. Everything's all good. I should just keep. Yeah, it's fine. All right, so let's go ahead. I've got it up here, the demo. I haven't done anything with this, so this is a live raw reaction.
This is the visceral react.
And actually, while we do that, I am going to actually make this bit bigger for the stream. You know, just go ahead and see what's there. Okay.
While he's working on that, I did also want to ask you guys: was there like a large? I feel like you kind of touched on this in the answer to the first question, but was there like a large amount of things that you guys had to tweak to get past sensors, or did it go through pretty cleanly?
With the Great Rebellion, yeah, actually it went pretty cleanly, to be honest. Yeah, we were actually surprised about that, but we just handed in with Steam and, took the usual few days for review, and that was it.
There was steps along the way, though. So politically, right, certain words become charged at certain times, and in the West, or Western Europe rather, globalist, for instance, is seen as absolutely synonymous with certain people. That seems to get really quite heavily attacked. So we changed like all the globalist guards to like a corporation, and we changed the corporation to Lucis Lux, which is like Lucifer the Lightbringer, basically.
Oh yeah, right. Originally, we were still using the Global Homo Corporation.
Oh,
but we basically,
nice.
and then we changed it to Lucis Lux. Basically, but that was both. It was censorship because we wanted to avoid these issues, and eventually it paid off because we are still on Steam and so on. But it was also just we decided, we wanted to reduce the meme factor of it all. I mean, it still leans pretty heavy on this, but yeah, like basically we wanted to avoid being just known as like a meme game.
Yeah, and we want to use this universe again, right? So it made sense to actually name the corporation properly at last. And,
yeah,
like,
just
Lucis Lux, and then we can explore why it's called that later and stuff.
Yeah, actual world building over just memes, basically.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen
that's great.
the kind of riffs on the game that the grifters have been trying to do? So I think, did the Alex Jones game come out before Great Rebellion or after? I can't remember.
I believe it came out after.
No, wait, let me think. I'm pretty sure it came
Just
out
about
before. It was before.
Yeah,
it was very close, like 2 months before. So we were like, oh, yeah, did somebody steal our idea? But from what I understand, it was really just a coincidence. And basically, it was kind of in the air, like we were not the only ones who had the idea to make a political game. And it was just a question of time until somebody would also do that.
Oh, yeah.
We were all right though, because we didn't occupy too much of the same space. Like the Alex Jones game is not only a bit more on the nose and specifically themed around one creator, right? But at the same time, it was like once we looked at it, yeah, it's got some good gameplay, but it's only like half an hour long or something, sort of an hour. And we were like, oh, okay, we're actually looking at two different markets here because we've got a proper roguelike people can put serious time into.
Oh, yeah.
Food production facilities.
Okay.
On this guided tour,
Let me see something right now.
Sensors indicate you have entered the food production plant.
This thing is not reading my gamepad. That's fine.
Guarantee
Mouse keyboard it is.
Yeah, there is still an issue at the moment. You would have to play it with keyboard probably. The current
Alright,
build doesn't
that
really
is
support
perfectly fine.
can still put you back.
Yeah,
of
we
course,
only
the
put in the
finished version will.
gamepad like a week ago.
Yep. So I was making sure that my gamepad wasn't broke. Yep, so I'm gonna tell you right now, the mouse and keyboard, it feels perfectly fine. Like right here, Let's see. Okay. Yep. Yeah, no, the Alex Jones thing is incredibly on the nose, as with everything there, but okay. Ooh. Oh, okay, so you just walk up and jump onto it. Cool. Very nice.
I will give you a word of warning for like podcasting plus playing this game. Some of the info for things like keypads and stuff, you'll find it in little like notes you find in the game that go to your PDA. So you will have to sort of like problem solve while you play.
Yeah, there are puzzles in the game, and then you have to read through the PDAs and to the logs.
Let me see. Reduction. Keep that left being solid. Forward codes. Prefix it with a 1. Okay, so dial the extension and prefix it with a 1. Okay. Nice.
Sorry to ask quickly, but I can't actually see this stream. Roland, are you able to see the gameplay?
I have can't see it like here, but
Let me. Hold up a sec. Let me.
I have
It's sharing the wrong. Oh no, there we go.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, we just. I didn't have the gameplay queued up, so it defaulted to a
Right.
different window.
So basically, here you have to find out, in which section you are.
All right, you are here, and you want to go to Cultivation Center. It's like. So let me see what we do here. Cultivation Center, the Thing is right here. Helpline. So let me see. Cultivation. That's the control center. Yes. Let me read this thing again. Codes changed it. However, central code. For your section's helpline and preface it with a 1. So dial the extension number. So 1 and then the helpline for the extension. Alright, so we want to go cultivation center, right?
The route through to the cultivation center, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to say too much.
alright, looks like we want to go into this. Okay, let's see. Okay.
You basically have to.
Okay.
No, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm being absolutely dumb here, but it says Tram Station Cultivation Center. We have to put the correct code in. Let me just see which code it should be. It should be let's see.
Oh, Pavel Durov, thank you for that glorious 1 frame a second
Courier,
screen
you're the
share
one.
rate.
Yeah, I'm watching on Odyssey because
Yeah.
Durov is really
Yeah.
letting us down.
Okay, so it's not the office wing. It's is it Pavlok?
Hey, look, Pavel Durov is the Todd Howard of messaging clients.
It just works, yeah.
Yeah. Alright, I'm trying to figure out which one I want here. Because food production 86.
Okay, I'll give you a little hint. It's about where you currently are.
Yep, I figured it out.
Where are you currently?
Yeah, see, it says cultivation, and I was like, oh, food production.
I love all the
Yes,
corporate art on
exactly.
the wall as well. It's got all
Yeah.
that sort of globo homo corporate art.
Oh yeah, it's just like, yeah, I've worked in offices with this. Yeah, I like that. You know, you had to actually use a little bit of thought, which you know, I mean, I've been
It's one of
spoiled by
those-
all
it's-
those modern games, you know.
It's harsh to put it early, but at the same time, it's like you've got to teach the player what they're going to be doing later.
Oh yeah,
So
exactly.
there's a few things here that we've noticed on people's first run. They'll be trying to like figure out for a little while, but we think that's part of the fun about the last guy is
Oh yeah,
once you sort of click with the fact that like, oh, actually this is really like well designed and it really leads you to where you want to really be going, what directions you want to be going. It funnels you really, really creatively.
Yep.
And you sort of click with it eventually. You become one with it.
Yep. Well, I mean,
It
hey,
reminds me a
it's
bit-
not as bad as like Morrowind, where it's like, go south from Balmora, and then when you get to the big tree, turn east and walk 100 paces. Oh, did
You
you?
don't know the
And it-
lore. The tree was gone 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, it tells you he died and the timeline is doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not that bad, but we don't have yellow paint either, so it's like
Yeah.
good in between.
Yeah.
It reminds me a bit of like the first Arkham game where you sort of keep getting funneled in. Like, I'm just going to go through one more, like, great. I'm going to get through one more keypad. I'm going to go through one more room. And you keep getting addicted because it's got this, like, really nice linear problem-solving thing where every problem you solve in Arkham, you feel like you're the smartest guy in the world and that no other gamer could have possibly solved it but you, even though everyone else did.
And look at this.
Yeah,
and,
that's
and
good
you've got the
puzzle design
walk.
when you feel smug about it.
And you've got the walk for, I do not actually know how to control things, therefore let me walk slowly. Yeah, now this is remind me similar to the original Red Pill, you know. That's a callback to one of our earlier episodes, actually, Deus Ex.
Right. Yeah, that's of course also like that's also in there a little bit. Yeah.
Cross
Everyone on the
says
team
there
is a
was-
huge Deus Ex fan.
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah, Cross says there was a game about Rittenhouse called Acquitted.
Was that a top-down shooter?
You know,
Oh.
I don't know because I haven't heard
I think
of
I've
it.
seen something like that at one point.
It probably
Cross
was.
will probably fill us in when the stream catches up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we should talk a bit how this game came to be.
Oh yes,
So
absolutely.
basically, this game has been developed for a long time by different developers. Basically, I mean, it originally started out. So we do these game jams, where we just together with a bunch of other developers make. Ah, yeah, you can't swim, by the way. Where we with other developers we just make like short prototypes, small mini games for like whatever ideas we have over the course of a few days. And on one of these game jams, a prototype has been made by these other guys, and they decided to keep working on that and expanding on it. And over time they turn it into this guy, into the last guy, into this game, the last guy, and eventually they approached us and said like, hey, could you help us with marketing the game, since we have a fan base and we have a bit of a name at this point. And we were like, yeah, sure, of course. And we also like help them with the actual development a bit, like some of our programmers are working on it now. And yeah, so it became kind of like integrated into Cult Games, but started off as a
It would be a
different
shame,
project,
right?
basically.
If we weren't working together, it would probably release into a void, have hardly anyone play it, maybe 100 people maximum, and that would be that, which would be such a shame because it's so well designed with such a cool little universe. The music is absolutely awesome as well. People compliment all of that. The design's awesome. The Y2K aesthetics are absolutely on point, and so you don't want anything like this just vanishing. Whereas if we've got that audience to offer them, then it just made sense to work together.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, and it's fun. Like I know I should be talking more, but I'm full on like playing the game mentality and this is what happens when I talk. I just drop into the water like an idiot. But yeah, I mean this is playing well. I'm
Cross and Caliber say, yeah, it's a top-down, like, I'm guessing they're saying it's like a twin stick kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And the enemies are zombie Antifa.
That was pretty funny. I wanted to play it some other time. Yeah, so
if at any point you do want to just like talk more and not game, we literally had like a friend of the company just uploaded a walkthrough today, so you could play it in the background if you wanted. But
yeah, that's true.
It literally just smoothly goes through like the whole demo.
Damn, tell me I'm that bad, huh?
No, I was more saying if you wanted to focus at any point.
No, you're actually doing quite well. Like I am completely, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm old, but I'm completely unable to multitask. So whenever I play and talk,
oh yeah,
run into walls and shit.
But yeah, no, so like, along with this game, I mean this is looking like fun. And everybody, by the way, you should all go on Steam right now and download this. If it's on Steam, the demo's there saying what I'm playing. Oh yeah, of course, wishlist it. Okay. Now, I'm just trying to figure out, am I supposed to jump? No, I'm not supposed to jump on there. We're not doing that. There's something else I'm supposed to do.
Why do we have hands? Forfeit all worldly possessions to Cult Games.
What if I just went down here and pressed the freaking button? How about that? Why? Look at that. See, here's the thing is,
Marvelous.
I remember, like, older game systems, older games, where I,
Bridge operation halted.
Stop meddling with things. This instant.
I mean, the indie scene is kind of, just by the nature of the resources available, it is kind of retro. Compared to like AAA, but like that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Now.
It also means that later generations kind of get to see what earlier generations were, sitting in front of, quote unquote, rotting their brains.
Okay, so
yeah, it's that's true. Like this is something I have at this point noticed a lot, that I'm this old at this point that the games I grew up with, there is a new generation of games that just doesn't know them and has never heard of it or know the concepts, or it's never played a game where there were no quest markers or something like that. So
never played a game where it's like, yeah, you can kill that shopkeeper because he talks shit to you. You'll you can keep getting things saying like the threads of destiny have been severed. Like, yeah, he was required. All right, we're in the freezer unit. Good. Or
yeah, I mean, indie gaming is obviously, it's often retro, and there is definitely a huge factor of nostalgia. But it's not just that. Like I kind of see it like because the whole nostalgia, like, is it all just nostalgia bait or so? I just see it like always like basically continuing where games have left off when everything turned to shit, so to say. What if, alternative timeline, what if we are back in 2000 or something, and now we're actually making, I don't know, we're just making games like that again, and take it from here, because obviously these games aren't really totally like the old games. They are more like, they are supposed to feel like the old games, but they are, of course, using modern technology, modern quality of life, and so on.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've noticed too, especially in like the indie horror game scene, there's a lot of games that are built to kind of feel like they're on like the PS1, but like they have like back end and like processing things that the PS1 couldn't have done to make them more interesting.
Yeah, we always talk about this. Like, people think they want to play PS1 games again, but really they want games that feel like they're PS1 games, but they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want
very few
PS1 games
exceptions.
with good controls.
Vent Guy,
Yeah.
by the way, that you just spoke to, that's one of the lead developers on the game. He's got that really cool voice for the game. I think it suits really well. He's Finnish, and it sort of comes across really creepy. I think it sounds awesome with him in the vent.
Yeah, we always use him because he's also good with voice acting, and he has his Finnish accent, so we always let him say things if we want to have like that special, foreign flair. I don't know. You're the Anglo, Edmund, so you can probably explain that better.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I always say.
Sounds
Is
more
like,
interesting.
whenever you guys are like, but it's just me talking. I'm like, yeah, but it's not. You got to understand, to the Anglosphere, you sound strange and bizarre and exotic.
Let's see, am I supposed to drop down here, or? He said a thing. I got distracted. Don't know what he said.
yeah, look down.
Oh, okay. Oh, down on this thing right here. Oh, down there.
I really like this room as well because it feels proper like the Pillar of Autumn in Halo or something.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like the environmental controls are scuffed or something, so you got the ice everywhere, and
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. Speaking of old games, I'm reminded by I told the story on the show before where I went back to play the original Fallout, and I was like, oh, I'll just do a melee build, just big old melee build, no problem, right? Go.
he discovered the folly of having one intelligence in the old Fallouts.
Yeah, if you play the old Fallouts, now I know in older games, like if you have below 3 intelligence in older D&D games, your character is illiterate. In Fallout 1, if you go with 1 intelligence, your character is literally, speaking medically by the way, a drooling retard who your only response is "durr," ellipses, duh. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you, but if you go talk to this guy, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? That was my first play.
That must feel very foreign to a Zoomer. I mean, I have understood at this point. I played classic Fallout, and it broke my brain. It's kind of like a genre of YouTube videos at this point.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, even me, I'm a millennial, and I had trouble with Fallout 2. I got killed by like a radroach in the tutorial, and I went, F this fucking game, and just.
Yeah,
I think there's
have a
one
hard time.
place. Isn't there like one place in Fallout 1 where with your 1 intelligence it actually works in your favor? I swear there's one
there is this
enemy.
character,
There's a guy.
Thor, and he's also retarded, and if you talk to him, he's the only guy that you can, if you play the game normally with a high intelligence, and he only grunts, but if you're both retarded, basically, then you can like have a normal conversation.
Yeah, isn't all of his dialogue for 1 intelligence character like this, like really complex, eloquently written stuff that sounds like it's from like, I don't know, some like British university professor or something?
Probably, yeah. That's probably the trick. I have never done a 1 intelligence playthrough because, I don't know. I just can't bring myself to do these like crazy playthroughs because obviously I want to have like high intelligence because it influences how much you can level up and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. It's just so cool that they just did that, and they knew that the vast majority of players will actually never experience that.
Yep.
And you couldn't do these things anymore nowadays because games have these insane budgets. Every single little thing in the game takes just so much effort and just money to make that obviously you won't waste it onto something that the majority of players won't even see. So I'm a huge proponent of this idea that like games are just too big. Like I like actually small games because then you can do these things. You can just go crazy with these things much more than if you have these super bloated $500 million budget.
I feel like though it's only a matter of time before someone teaches a large language model to create 3D models. And then at that point the budget for games is going to go way down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably. It's really hard to say. I mean, I think, yeah. I don't think that it will just be in any foreseeable future. Just like, it just spits out the perfect model, but it can be an extremely efficient tool probably to just make you, to just make things faster. I think people will always want to have that human touch, I think if people learn that like all the assets in the game are AI generated or so, they tend to reject that because I mean that's a whole other debate basically. But
yeah.
I mean we have used some AI generated art actually in the Great Rebellion, and people have actually criticized us for that. But we did it because we didn't have the resources. We couldn't have done it otherwise. We mostly used it for these background images, which would have taken ages to, draw pixel by hand.
Yeah, I mean,
so we had these created by Midjourney, and then we ran it through a pixelization filter, and then we did like hand editing, hand edit.
Like polish.
Quick question:
make it fit in with the aesthetics
Is
of the rest
there
of the game. And,
is there a unique kill
Yeah.
animation if I run through this?
Not yet, but we have talked about that.
All right, because I'm right here like, oh, I wonder if it shows anything cool, but maybe I shouldn't. Okay.
Literally, great minds think alike. So we've already discussed that in the team. That's really interesting.
Oh, hey,
A
it's
lot
a
of people
fusion
don't.
core.
A lot of people don't sort of understand as well. This last guy, right? He's lived in a pod his whole life, so that's why he's got like heave everything around, and he's not good with weapons, and he can't swim and stuff like that. And a lot of people, I think, sort of miss the detail that the front of his VR visor has come off, and he's just got these massive bug eyes.
So is that like part of his face, or?
The visor's just sort of left on. He's never lived without it, right? So when he was in the pod, it had a screen, but now he's taken the screen off. So it's just these massive enlarged pupils in front of his face. But there's a few sort of things at once, right? So last guy is traditionally your last life in a video game, but also he's the last guy in the facility, but also it's sort of like the Nietzschean last guy, the sort of bug man. But in this case, the bug man's going to become the real hero.
Yeah, that prototype that they made at our game jam was actually called The Last Man, and then it was changed to The Last Guy.
I like that. It works on a lot of levels.
There's a lot of sort of last guy theming throughout. Like the first note you pick up for your PDA is a note from the guy who was like running the train station when they finally fired everyone and AI took over and it all became automated. And his note is saying like, I guess I'm kind of like the last guy in the whole station. It's like there's these themes keep cropping up of being the last guy in a situation.
Yeah, so it's like who even is the last guy? Is it you, or was it the last guy before you?
So I gotta get rid of the electrical thingy going on here.
Oh yeah, it's the classic electrified floor water puzzle.
I like that you can get stuck though. Like you were saying earlier that it took you a while to figure out where to jump to, what button to find. And it does remind you of being a kid, right? Where you'd spend like what felt like an hour to 2 hours stuck on one thing. And really it probably wasn't. It was like 20 minutes maximum, but you were like trying to figure out where to go in Spyro, or you were trying to figure out how to complete a GTA mission for hours.
Well, a lot of times, I wasn't a smart kid, so I would overlook the obvious, here's a button to press, and try to feel like, which polygon can I jump up onto here, to
How do I cheese this?
Well, no, it's
yeah,
like
everyone.
I assumed
like-
that the whole thing was, like, oh, I'm supposed to jump up here and not. Or one actually I remember, I forget what it was called. It was a Viking game. And
Lost Vikings.
no, it was a very old Viking game where you went like fight the soldiers of Loki who turned in like these big it was like a PS, I think it was a PS2 game. That's probably where I need to go up there. But let me look around here real quick. Oh yeah, I need to get that. Okay.
Should give the vending machine a go if you can as well.
Oh yeah.
So that's how your character heals. Everyone lives on this weird soy drink.
Nice.
So it's like, what's Soylent Breeze made of? You know, how do they get that lime flavor?
But no, the game I was thinking of, basically, I got to the point where I beat this boss, and I was like, okay, you don't touch this weird icky stuff because it turns people into like monsters. I was like, oh crap, you know what? Is this a glitch? Am I out? I ran around for probably literally like 15 minutes trying to figure it out, and then finally, it's like, oh, I just throw myself into the stuff, and it turned out that's what you were supposed to do. Like, you were supposed to like take on the abilities of the monster so that you can go fight the monsters, kind of deal, you know?
It's like the Great Rebellion. Like, the pro tactic, which takes a lot of people a while to click with, is when the dashing makes you invincible. You've got to dash into danger. You want to dash through their shots, and that takes a long while for people to click.
Oh yeah,
It's sort
with
of
the
like rolling in Dark Souls.
with like the boombox. I think it's the boombox that sends off like the little waves of stuff and make.
Yeah, makes your dash like basically into an attack. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you go ahead and it plays the music, and I'm like, yo, let's just Disco Inferno up in here at this point. It's just like so much
also, like totally. We also totally just accepted the fact that not everything will be perfectly balanced, and probably some combinations of power ups are just going to be totally OP. But it's like whatever, it's fun. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. I got all the way to the second to last boss without knowing you can do that.
Really? I didn't even know that you could do that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can.
Well,
if you're really careful.
The Greek philosopher Socrates once said, "All I know for certain is that I don't know." And more recently, the American philosopher Alex Jones said, "I'm a little retarded." And brother, both of those are me.
I do not need to go here. Where do I need to go? Went backwards.
Yes, something I really like about TGR is just making crazy builds. Like, you'll do one run and you just get the most OP upgrades where you're shredding entire rooms of enemies, and then you'll die at some point, and once you're left without that stuff, you realize like how crap you actually are.
Oh yeah.
But we've got this one tester internally who's insane, and like we use him to test like if things are going to be utterly broken. Like when we added nightmare mode, he's so good at the game that we were like, can you complete it without getting upgrades? And he did, and it's like, how have you even done that? We didn't even know it was possible, but the fact it is means we can tell people it is.
Yeah. He's way better at the game than I am, so yeah.
Oh, okay, I can just carry it over here. Okay. Yeah, no, that's always fun when you get stuff like that, because a lot of people these days, they watch like on YouTube and whatnot things like what one of my favorite game series that Courier refers to as cock and ball torture, which is Souls games. You go ahead and you can just be like, oh yeah. So here we go. We have ways that you can beat this game from everything from without healing, without getting hit, with taking every single hit. Like, literally, there's a guy who's done like Elden Ring, but I don't ever block or dodge.
Wow.
Okay.
It's
that guy's video so I can figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, it gets.
I don't know how
It's a certain stats, certain armor, whatever kind of deal, and a lot of health, obviously.
It's crazy how much time people must invest into finding these ways of playing these games. I mean, it's cool.
Oh, let me see. Can I get there without getting shredded? Let's find out. I'm getting through Earth.
My wife, for the longest time, just whenever she saw this game being worked on, she was always like, "Oh, the cute one." She always thinks it's really sweet. Wants like
I
a little
mean-
model of the guy.
The guy is kind of cute. I always found, I don't know, found it very charming.
Well, there was people in the comments calling it the baby game, which I found quite funny.
You know, it's. I mean, look, I'm playing it right now. Obviously, I'm enjoying it, and it plays decently. Of course, we have this platforming puzzle, and I am, notoriously great for platforming puzzles. You know, but this looks interesting. While I play this, guys, I know there were other projects you want to talk about, and I know we only got you for a short period of time.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about some of the other stuff as well. So,
Yeah.
like,
Because I
sort
mean,
of-
like, I've
I'll
got
give you a
6
rundown.
hours I could do this, but I know you guys only have like so
yeah,
long.
the thing is, it's already a bit late here, and I also at some point will have to check on my son who managed to stuff something up his nose, and I hope my wife managed to get it out at this point. Probably
I'll give you a
like
rundown,
it's
then I'll let Roland deep dive on some of it. But
yeah.
we got Hyper Rebellion Blood and Circuits is sort of the big thing we're advertising at the moment. It's really early stages, like pre-alpha, so it's the one we're really looking for crowdfunding for. But that is like a horde shooter. It's sort of got some gameplay elements that are a bit like Diablo, but it sort of visually looks a bit like Fallout 1. So kind of like Diablo with guns, but then fundamentally it's more like Vampire Survivor to play. So that's sort of the spiritual successor to the Great Rebellion, same universe, same characters. Then obviously the last guy, as you're currently doing, is the one we're promoting for people to play. We want to get loads of player feedback, get people playing that demo, get them wish listing it, give them something to do right now, rather than just support us when we haven't put something out,
Yep.
And then we've got Diverghold, which is one of my absolute personal favorites, which is starting off as mobile, and it's like a traditional dungeon delver. You build up a base though, so there's like a reason to go into the dungeon. It's gonna be really deadly. You'll actually lose adventurers every time you do it. It's gonna be like real strategy there, and then build up your base, and that gives you better rewards, better chance to get deeper into the Diverghold. And then we want to bring that eventually to like PC, Nintendo Switch, that kind of stuff. And then finally Biostation, which is really early stages, but it's gonna be heavily narrative focused, episodic. It's like solar punk. But the guy we've got writing it is Dave Martell. He does the Bizarchives books, which are weird, creepy, scary stuff, really pulpy. He's the perfect guy for it, but he also uses that as a lens to analyze current political situations and stuff, right? So works really well.
Yeah, it deals a lot with AI. Like the story will basically explore concepts that have to do with AI, and there will be some relatively like esoteric stuff in there. Like it will be weird fiction, basically. Imagine, Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft meets in a solar punk dystopia of sorts. Yeah. But about the other games. So yeah, I mean, what can I add? I mean, Edmund already.
Well, let's get more
summarized.
into like the story and ideas. So Hyper Rebellion is going to be the like spiritual successor to the Great Rebellion.
Yes, I mean, the original idea was to the reason why the reason why it's not a platformer this time is because I just really think we've done enough platformers. I wanted to do something different, and platformers are actually also, it has to be said, really not the easiest. There is a fan base for platformer games, but we got a lot of feedback by people that were like, when I played the game, I actually liked it, but I didn't think that I would like it because I normally don't play platformers. So it's just a bit of a tough sell these days. But also, I just always wanted to do like a top-down game. I always loved isometric games. I'm obviously a huge fan of the original classic Fallout games. I liked to play Diablo 1 and 2 when I was younger. And yeah, so we had this idea, and then I played, we played a bunch of Survivors-like games at the time. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. So the Survivors spin-off of Deep Rock Galactic. And then we thought like, okay, we can incorporate some of that, and we really focused on like, you know, having these huge hordes of enemies. Actually, a lot of the coding has so far gone into optimization to make sure we can have a lot of enemies without any slowdowns and such. And yeah, but I personally always thought like survivors like games are cool, but I always kind of dislike the fact that they are, I mean, they are called auto battlers for a reason. A lot of stuff happens essentially automatically. You just walk around and then all your weapons just kill these hordes of enemies for you. So we wanted to take that and combine it with a more, you know, reflex-based classic action shooter type game where you have to use your environment more. There's like, you know, there's going to be like a system for like surfaces where liquids or fluids can spread on the floor. You can set them on fire and so on to block off areas against enemies and such things. So you have to. So we wanted to combine, you know, these different elements, and yeah. So that's, and also, you know, it's a huge step up graphically compared to the Great Rebellion, since we've gone from pixel art to yeah, relatively current tech 3D graphics using, you know, PBR rendering and such. But we're gonna have, it's also gonna be a little bit of, it's gonna have this retro aesthetic in the sense that the characters are sprite sheets still, so they are not real 3D models. They are created from 3D models, kind of like the, you know, like the models in Fallout or in the old Diablos. So we did that for the aesthetics, but also because it's just, you know, it's good for the performance, can have more enemies on the screen. So yeah, those are some of the gameplay ideas behind it. And story-wise, we are still a little bit, you know, trying to figure it out. Originally, it should have been a relatively straightforward, just, you know, taking over where we left off with the Great Rebellion. But we are currently revising that a little bit and trying to come up with making it a bit more interesting, giving a new spin on the whole thing. We want to also go in a bit of a retro-futurist direction. We've been thinking about, you know, making the setting go more into like a, yeah, basically mixing futurism with various styles like Art Deco and such things. So we're currently trying
as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool lore as well. Like already, like we were looking at Europe being sort of like, you know, Germany is going to be this like really horrible economic zone. It's all sort of depressive. It's like your typical cyberpunk streets. Then France has like got an upper city to Paris that's like above the Eiffel Tower, and that's where all the rich are, and it's all Art Nouveau, very French. And then when you go over to like America, it's going to be like this nuclear wasteland where there's the Lone Star Kingdom has come out of Texas, and they've got like a king in Texas, and they have to fight Silicon Valley, which has become Silicon Valley, and they make like these flesh robots.
Nice.
And they fight Lone Star Kingdom, which are they're like sort of this neo-medievals. They're on like motorbikes.
Why are you
and stuff,
behaving like
then
this?
That's kind of like their version of horses. Then they go to war with Silicon Valley and things like that.
Yeah, so we're really like we're gonna expand a lot the whole lore, the whole setting from just a basic standard cyberpunk thing. We're definitely looking towards spreading that out and exploring new ideas in that sense. So yeah, we have big plans for this game, and
I just like the idea of like a king of a. Okay, so there's a king in America. He's from Texas. It's like, okay. I knew like, okay, you say king in America. I'm like, okay. It's gonna only be Texas or Florida. One of those two.
Yeah, we've been thinking about like basically, you know, combining, I don't know, Terminator with cowboys or something.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's a bit like that.
Terminator Salvation.
The Khan as well and stuff, right? Kaiser and stuff from Fallout. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
As well.
Very nice. Yeah, 'cause I'm like, dude, you could put some with the idea of like any sort of cyberpunk thing with America. So much Florida man stuff.
Actually, Florida Man could be an enemy type, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Florida would also be interesting, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be so much fun, and I would encourage.
Swamps and...
was gonna say I would encourage everybody to go ahead and contribute to this now. Let me stop the gameplay that I'm doing and adjust.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to. I was of course about to shill for our crowdfunder on Indiegogo.
Indiegogo.com/projects. It's the link is gonna be here. Okay, look up Hyper Rebellion Blood and Circuits. Now everybody watching, along with setting up for itself, we got this one level here. If you wouldn't mind, explain to us the different levels of perks.
Yeah, I mean we have you know the usual rewards for different perks, stuff like your names can be in the credits. You will get access to a dev blog where you get behind the scenes insights. You can get an art book with concept art and so on. You'll get the soundtrack, of course. In addition, you can get an invite to a QA session with the developers with the higher tiers. And if you buy like the second highest tier, you can for 5,000 euro, you can get an invite basically to meet us for an IRL meetup. And if you pay the highest perk, if you get the highest perk, you get a flask of my bathwater.
I was going to ask, which one of y'all's bathwater am I getting?
Yeah, you get mine.
It's been an ongoing joke in the team for like 3 years. Every time we consider the crowdfunder, we're like, Roland bathwater immediately.
Yeah, it's great. So yeah, everybody, I advise you go ahead and do it. And anybody wants to donate right now, because here's the thing, everybody, I'm going to show y'all right now. Show y'all I ain't full of shit. My contributions right here. Hyper Rebellion Blood and Circuits for the €100. Because among other things, I want access to the beta. I'm really interested in this right here.
Based.
It's absolutely based and wonderful. Yep. But
yeah, if anybody.
Yeah. Beyond that though, yeah, guys, go ahead now. But Courier unfortunately don't got it, and I want Courier to get it too. So everybody, send us some money so I can put next $120 that gets donated here will be used to get Courier beta access to the game also.
Very based. Cool.
Yes, but yeah, guys, go ahead, go here.
Thanks a lot. Greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
There's been some people put in like $400 and stuff. We've been quite amazed. It surprised us how generous some people have been.
Yeah.
It's been really wonderful.
I really have to say, the people who have donated, most of them have taken some of the actually higher tiers. Like hardly anyone has. I mean, few have, but like we had a lot of the higher tiers actually, more than we expected for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing is this: I know that we have a relatively high goal. The main reason for that is because we really want to have like high quality art assets, really cool environments and so on. And this just costs money. You need to pay 3D artists and that's just expensive. But it's okay, even if we do not meet our goal, it doesn't, it would be cool if we did. But even if we didn't, it's still fine because we will get all the money. It's going to be, it's not going to be an all or nothing crowdfunder. So we will still get the money, and we will be able to use that to make a cool game and scale accordingly. And if we don't meet the goal, then we will still. The game's gonna be made. Like it's gonna get made. It's not dependent on whether we succeed or not in meeting the goal. It's just that will decide how big we can go, basically.
Yeah, we'd always keep pushing, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean, looking at just what you've got here, like, let's go ahead, sign in. Okay, well, screw you. I'll go to the actual thing. Okay, just do it on freaking YouTube, douche. I love it. It's like, hey, embed YouTube. Oh, no, don't actually open on YouTube. Signing in, confirm the bot, but I am not a bot. Screw it.
Do you want to mention as well, Roland, why we've done multiple games?
Oh yeah, how that came to be, because I made a post about that recently. Why, people ask us why do you want to do 4 games? Isn't that a bit, isn't it better to focus on one game and put really all the effort into that? And the reason for that is, mostly two reasons for that. One is it just kind of happened like that because people, after we released the Great Rebellion, people just kept on joining our team. We actually have been approached by multiple people. Hey, we want to work with you. And some of these people, you know, as in the case with last guy, had their own project already, or at least had ideas for what they would want to do. In the case, you know, it was Dave Martell who had this idea for this setting, for the story, and then another guy joined us who had experience with mobile gaming, and we were like, okay, we make a mobile game, and then we can do, and you know, we can do like dungeon crawlers. So basically, it just happened so that there were these different ideas, and then we were like, okay, you know, let's just form teams and try all of these, and just keep it small in scope. Like all of these games are, you know, they're not like intended to be huge games. I personally think there is definitely a demand for shorter games. I like shorter games because, I mean, sure, you know, if you're a bit older, you might not have time or whatever, for various reasons. You might not have the time to constantly play like games that take like 200 hours to play through. So this is the direction we decided to go. And another reason is just that it's, the thing is this: if you work for 4 years or for 3 years or so on one big game and you do not have any revenue in that meantime, you can do that if you have a big publisher who finances you. We cannot do that. We need to always find some way to generate revenue at any time, or we'll just go bankrupt. So we decided to make smaller games, and we decided to not, you know, put all our eggs in one basket and just hope that this will be a smash hit, and otherwise we will go bankrupt. So we decided to make these smaller games that we can do in small teams and release one after another. And you know, hopefully then just when they're, you know, all out, when they're combined, generate some income. And it's also actually easier to have these smaller teams that work on these dedicated games than have one big team, because the bigger the team, the bigger the overhead. If you have like 10 programmers, you need to have much more, you know, you need to put much more effort into coordinating everyone. You have, I don't know, you have to have meetings all the time. If it's just 2 programmers, then you can just, you know, be in constant contact with each other, and you need very little additional organizational effort. So it's actually easier for us to do it that way. And it has been working quite well because, yeah, all the projects are shaping up quite nicely, and there's also a sense of like ownership. Each team has their own project, so it's their thing, you know, make it as good as possible, you know, with a little bit of like competition. Obviously, everybody wants to. But yeah, and this another game called classic.
Hold up, I'm losing connection. Give me just a sec. I appear to have lost connection to the call, guys. Give me a sec. It should be fine. I'm going to, let's see. Leave the call. I'll leave the call and come back. I'm going to go to the actual chat. All right, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I lost connection myself there, so all right, we're back.
Oh damn. How
Okay,
much of the recording did we lose?
I don't believe we lost too much of anything. I know he was talking about the multiple games and such like that. And that was about when we started losing connection. Right when you guys said that he was starting to robot out for you was also when I started to robot out.
Yeah, he said, last thing I heard Roland say properly was it gives a sense of ownership to each of these small teams.
Yes, that's right about where I left off.
Yeah, I was just talking about, yeah, exactly, like ownership and you know, positive competition in a way. Everybody wants to show off what cool stuff they have made and so on. So that actually creates a nice dynamic, and yeah, it just works fine. It works. It's fine. It's not like we are like we have the feeling that we have taken on more, we've bitten off more than we can chew or something.
Not every game's the next Expedition 33 as well, right? Like, there's a lot of assumption of like, oh, there's 6 of you. You could make Expedition 33. They started with 6 people, and it's like, yeah, with a plan of making like the biggest Western JRPG ever.
Yeah.
And like
also,
yeah, I mean,
we've covered the Expedition 33 on the show a bit, where the guys who did
Yeah,
that, they had a lot of big money behind them, which they had the equivalent like trust funds, and that's all well and good. They also had guys who were like long-term insiders who had the connections to really push their game and get it done, and even had a movie deal prepped up before the game was released. Like the whole idea of these were just 6 dudes, regular dudes with nothing else going on, is a complete and total really
yeah, it's
market
marketing
manufactured.
hogwash.
Yeah, it's market manufactured fallacy.
Yeah, I also find that quite unlikely.
It's a great game as well, but
It's-
they've
but
got this paid up business in the south of France where they moved
Yeah.
their studio. I loved the game, but that's not the point. Like, as in terms of the gameplay, not as much the story. But the point is, loved the game, great game, amazing. But as you quite rightly say, it actually gives a really bad vision for what a lot of indie teams are doing, especially without a big publisher. A lot of teams who call themselves indie or startup, they've got a massive publisher with millions and millions of dollars behind them.
Yes,
and it's like,
and
no, we're legit.
That's the
6
thing.
dudes.
And of course, then it creates that expectation in gamers. They now think if you're indie, you're gonna create the next Expedition 33.
Yeah.
Well, we do not have millions. We have the money we make with the Great Rebellion, and it's these are completely different scales.
Yes.
So what we are doing essentially is that we are trying, we are trying to be realistic in scope and slowly work towards something bigger, one step at a time. We made the Great Rebellion. That was already quite a step forward from Heimat Defender, and now we're making all these games. That's quite a step forward, and so on. And the mistake that many people or that many teams make is that they grow too fast and that they get bloated, and then they take on this huge, massive project that will be the next whatever, and it's just too much, and they self-destroy.
It's like those Mordor games, right? That was a huge studio for a while. They made both those Mordor games. They're brilliant games. Now they don't exist, and you know that at the bottom of that pile somewhere is someone who had a hostile takeover and got royally fucked up the arse.
Yes, they did. And then the thing is, speaking about the Expedition 33 thing, it reminds me very much of the effect that I don't know if you guys are in D&D, but the effect that Critical Role had on D&D in general, where people are like, oh my god, it's gonna be like this and like this and like this and like this, and it's like, no, because that's not a real life play D&D. These are actors playing D&D, and I'm sure they do plenty of fun stuff, but these are all experienced actors with scripts and things ready to go through. They've gone through all. You're not going to go to your local game shop and get that. And with a lot of what you guys want, it's well, this guy played Astarion and he gets to be all flamboyant and hit on everybody. If you go to a regular table like that and you start hitting on everybody in character or otherwise, people are going to call you a freak because you basically are, and you need to dip out up from my table, sir.
Yeah, so true.
That's of course that's actually a good segue because regarding Dwerkhold, I am. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine that it pisses me off to no end what has happened to modern D&D and to modern fantasy in general.
Yeah.
The whole coffee shop fantasy, the gay dwarves in the bakery, the Mexican orcs. This triggers me immensely. And so I just wanted, I just have this urge to create a game that is just not like that. It's not even anti that in the sense that we just don't acknowledge it. Dwerkhold is intended to be totally straight, classic, Dungeons and Dragons / Tolkien-esque fantasy game without any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it takes itself serious. It's not it's not ironic, it's not self-aware, it doesn't make snarky remarks about that we all totally are in on the fact that it's a fantasy game or something. So that's where we want to go. And
I gotta ask though.
Yeah.
Mobile game.
Yes. I know that's a controversial thing to do, on the one hand we say we want to do this total old school game and then it's mobile, but the reason why we did that, one of the reasons is we just wanted to make a mobile game. That's something we've been thinking about for quite some while, because I have this idea that mobile games don't have to be shit. I don't know. I hope I will be, correct with the fact that you can actually indeed sell a mobile game that's not total slop. But
it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it plays off.
Well, there was a time when mobile games were not totally horrible. There are some good old mobile games that are like that. There is like, you know, the old school Doom RPG and Orcs and Elves, and there's this game series called The Quest, which is kind of like a bit what we are doing, also like old school dungeon crawler type game. And there are some examples of actually good mobile games. It is possible. Obviously, it's not really done, because why would you put in all the effort if you can just, like, you know, have some whatever AI generated slop and some gacha game and then whatever. Yeah, I understand that, but yeah. So the idea is to start out with a somewhat simplified mobile version of the game, which is, you know, just because it's simplified doesn't mean it's like cheap or anything. So it has this it has this like slightly more casual gameplay, and will be mostly focused on combat. There will not be like a ton of story, and then we will release after that when we got some, you know, sales from that, and then we'll do a expanded version for PC and console that has more story and so on. And the basic idea is that we combine this classic dungeon crawling mechanic or gameplay with a light base building type mechanic, where you build out your dwarven camp. It's like the whole thing is kind of like a bit of like a Moria type situation. There is this huge dwarven kingdom that has been overrun, and you set up camp in the top level, and then you constantly go down into the deeper levels and try to clear the mine. And then you get some loot, you return to your base, you build out your base, you get new recruits and new stuff, and then go back to, and that's like, you know, the basic.
It's like colonialist fantasy, isn't it? You're recolonizing the place.
Fantasy XCOM.
Yep.
I mean, a little bit like that, maybe, yeah.
And I do have two questions in regard to that. One, you say get sales with it. Are you planning for this to be a free-to-play with a bunch of transactions, or what?
The basic idea is to have a free demo, and then you have one transaction for like, I don't know, $9 or something like that, and then you get the full version of the game, and that's it. I mean, maybe we will do expansions later on, like with additional content, like not, you know,
but
not play to win, or not like stupid whatever microtransactions.
Spend $5.99 for 20 crystals and let your dwarf mine for 1 hour longer.
Yeah, so we're not gonna do that. Maybe like actual gameplay expansions, as in like, you know, more dungeons, more enemies, and so on. So maybe we'll do that. But in general, that's gonna be it. So yeah, it's gonna be a more traditional kind of model. And
the important thing is that when we fight the succubus, she has to have big titties.
There will actually be big titties. I can actually guarantee that.
All right, people. We're putting this. This is going. One of these days, I'm gonna be streaming a mobile game.
But they will be hidden. They will be hidden with a very modest kind of chainmail bikini. Okay? So it's not gonna be an actual Korean sex doll simulator.
Oh yeah, don't worry. We've already got plenty of those. But yeah, okay. Big chainmail titties, everybody.
Ruckus's interest dies.
Shut the fuck up. All right, Mister. Be glad I didn't make them have to question your yellow fever there, sir. I mean, Courier insists that he likes Taki better than Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Okay. Well, that's a discussion I'm not gonna, you know.
No, I'm just it's a running joke.
Has turned into a whole thing.
No, it's all good. Okay.
Yeah, about Dverkold, it's also a hard. It's a game that's like really close to my heart, because, as I said, you know, the whole I don't know, Starbucksification of fantasy really.
Dude, Starbucksification. Have you seen the Lord of the Rings Tales of the Shire that's coming out?
Yeah, I have. Unfortunately,
awful.
I have. I thought it was canceled, and now they're making it after all. Damn it!
They delayed it for a bit, and then it's like, yo, and then,
fuck.
And of course, our one of our favorite game companies, of course, besides you guys, went ahead and, you know, had a hand in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet
Right,
baby.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
as well. I remember watching that trailer, and you could actually see like the cracks in that game. Like,
Oh yeah.
even if you did make a Hobbit game, right? Which I'm not like, that could be a cozy game. That could be
No,
a cool game.
you could totally
Yeah.
make that game.
But
yeah.
like, you could see the flower beds. There was like 6 of them, and you know what it's going to be. You'll walk up to it, press E, plant rosemary, done, and then you got to water it once a day, and that's it. And I was like, mate, you haven't even allowed us to like cultivate a garden. It's like set in these 6 little blocks, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is so grim.
Yeah, like
That's
I
like
mean,
sad.
it sounds like a fun game. Like, okay, I'm gonna go out here tend my garden. I'm gonna make my food. I'm gonna go over here and beat up one of those Saxville Bagginses that keeps trying to steal my silverware.
No, that
You
could
know.
be a totally fun game, like just Hobbit Simulator. I mean,
Yeah.
that's great. You know, you could make an amazing game actually. But of course, that's not what this is gonna be.
No, not at all.
So yeah, so with Vercode, we want to go like really full, Dungeons and Dragons nerd. I don't know if any of you listen to Dungeon Synth. You know, it's a very popular genre. That is.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
I am an enjoyer of Dungeon Synth. Yes.
Very nice, very nice. So yeah, we have a bunch of obscure dungeon synths. Do you know Splendorius?
I don't know names. I like just type in Dungeon Synth and let
Okay.
whatever pops up.
Yes.
You will have
so
heard
he-
him. He's one of the biggest.
Yeah, I'm sure you have heard him. Yeah, and a bunch of others have agreed to work with us on that, and so the soundtrack is also going to be, pretty epic.
Oh, nice.
Basically,
Yeah, so
I know I don't know. I just find this combination. I find this kind of funny, the combination of a mobile game, but then we're like totally going into the like anti-slop direction and just like these obscure artists. Yeah.
We meant what
I
we
think
said
it's
at
gonna be
Coldcast as well, right? Like, we legit wanted an actual handheld game. Because I wrote the script on
Yeah.
that bit, and it's like, we don't want a mobile game, we want a handheld game. There's a big
Yeah, I've heard
difference.
this guy, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. You could the second one, Norfaragel Sul. That's
Yep.
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The blue.
Yep, this one right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
I'll let our viewers listen to that while you talk.
yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know if we can
Yeah, no, it's
get
a.
an impression of that.
Yeah, no, this is a. Yeah, I've definitely heard this guy before. Now, this is great because that was the one thing I was like, huh, mobile game. You know, because a lot of times
Yeah,
people like they think, oh, mobile game. Okay, could this be good? Maybe, but a lot of things you like. Of course, everybody's like, okay, it's either cheap slop, it's massive microtransactions, or it's borderline AI generated Raid Shadow Legends Korean sex doll simulator.
Yeah, I know, but maybe I'm naive, and I don't know. We'll see. If but I just think
It's a breath of fresh air here. I'm legitimately looking forward to this. I mean, I probably will
Yeah,
end up
it's-
liking the PC release better just because I prefer things on my PC.
Yeah,
Same.
I mean, obviously the PC version will be, it will be bigger and it will be more complex and everything. We will make the gameplay a bit more casual for mobile because that's just what people. Yeah, I mean, it's also like how much time do you spend playing a game on your? You're probably not gonna play it for 3 hours, straight.
Yeah.
On a mobile.
That is a pretty clever move, I think. Just having the more approachable version on mobile, and then hey, if you want more, there exists a PC version.
There's a
The
market
trick
there.
will. Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
sorry, mate.
sorry, yeah. No, it's okay.
My brother, for instance, he grew up a big gamer, and he's got 2 kids now and stuff. He doesn't really play games. He plays his Nintendo Switch a little bit, but that's the one game he's excited for because he's like, oh, it's one of yours. I can actually play. I can sit there in the evening once I put the kids to bed, just before we pop the TV on for an hour or something, and I can actually sit there on that mobile game and play a bit of that. So, and it speaks to his generation because it's very much a genre for his gen. So that market's definitely there, and I think a lot of people will critique it quite heavily without understanding. Yeah, it's just not for you, man. Like, there's going to be different games for different people.
Yeah, people will probably complain about the fact that you can only move in a grid and such things. But...
Oh yeah. Oh no, I can only move in a grid. Like, have you ever played D&D? Like, have you
I don't
ever?
know. Should we have an auto map? I guess we will. We will have an auto map, but of course, if you're really hardcore, you will draw it on graph paper.
Yep. But yeah, no, I mean,
Right.
Ah.
I have to.
Yeah, I was about to say, you guys are,
I can come back. Yeah.
you guys are running.
I mean,
I think we about
yeah,
run
kinda
out of
running
time.
out
I
of-
promised. I got you to promise me here. So, anything further you do
Yeah.
want to push and say, Courier? Do you have any questions? I completely stepped all over you because, well, I'm an asshole.
Hey, it's all good. We're starstruck here. I mean, the only other question I have really is one that it's a bit self-evident. It's just, what, inspires the direction you guys go with like the narratives and stuff in your games. But, we all live in probably what inspires you, I imagine.
Yeah.
Partially, yeah. It's for me. It's a mixture of my own experiences with the world we live in, and just liking video games. And there is this whole thing. I mean, I see it as an art form, definitely, and sometimes people criticize what we're doing because it's just escapism and so on. But I just think that it's not just escapism. I think it's you can make beautiful games. You can make games that actually improve your, I don't know, that add something to your life, that are not just time wasters. And I want to make something like that.
Yeah, and I would say it's not all escapism. People say that critique. A lot of people on the right, especially like right-wing boomers, like what the kids doing on the video games, it's rotting their brains. No wonder the kids are turning out so dense, etc. It's not quite true, and as much as actually, if you look at something like The Great Rebellion, that is going straight for the issues, and it looks at like logical fallacies from the left wing and things like that as well, while delivering a freaking awesome roguelite. So I would say that you're actually tackling a lot of these issues head on. So when people say you're just escaping, it's like, well, I'm not. I'm immersing myself in it even more. So not sure about
And
that.
the thing is also like purely by the fact that I do something I feel passionate about and not even think about politics. Paradoxically, I end up creating something that is probably more useful than, I don't know, just spamming social media all day and posting or whatever.
Absolutely. And then also, I mean, it goes back to what I've pushed before with this whole thing is like, you guys have actually been like a major inspiration for me pushing with this podcast and all that, because like, we need everybody can bitch and moan and complain and be like, well, my kids just won't look at this stuff. My kids won't look at this stuff. Brother, you're not going to be able to fall back on Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy all 18 years, okay? They're going to get involved in other stuff. Our people, our guys, need to make actual games, because all art, a culture is expressed through its art. If you aren't making the art that expresses your culture, somebody else is going to. And a lot of times what we've seen is that if you look at like things about what were the 80s like, with the 90s, the 70s, the 60s and all that, oftentimes they seemingly are defined by their counterculture. And now with how utterly hideous the common culture is becoming, normal, wholesome, healthy relationships and families and games are the counterculture.
It's rebellious.
Yeah. So we are
a counterculture, but with K's instead of C's, because that makes it based somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, and counterculture.
Yeah, I'm insanely happy to hear you say it as well, man. Because like we had some critiques recently that had like irked some people on the team and stuff, and I said at the end of this day to the whole team, I was like, you know what? I've sort of realized about myself. I'm 30 now, and I've come to the conclusion all my favorite people create. And it's like I was creating comic books when I was at primary school, like drawing them individually and trying to sell them at like a school fair. And then I did bands my whole life, punk bands, whatever, rock bands. And Roland's been making games and giving them to, like, when he was at school, he was giving them to his mates and stuff his whole life. Everyone I like creates. And no matter what kind of creation that is. And for me, I'm Orthodox Christian. So for me, I view it as you're mimicking God the Father. God the Father creates, and you want to take part in that energy. So you also create to mimic the Father. And all my favorite people make stuff. They don't just moan. It's not just like the anti-woke crowd constantly just like, what's the next clickbait thing I can possibly post about? There's an interest in actually making a movement, creating things, pushing those things. Because we often find that we get great support from certain people, certain voices out there. But there are
very
some
sorry,
that
I don't
just
want to interrupt you, but I have to leave for like 2 minutes, but I will come back.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There are some that just don't.
And when the chips are down and we're like, hey, can you promote this thing for us or something? Radio silence, because they'd rather talk about how the most recent Cape shit is about black people instead of white people. And I'm like, okay, great, but like, we're making games here. Do you want to like push the games we're making?
Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, have you seen that Sweet Baby are doing this, or have you seen that this new game is gay? And I'm like, yeah, cool, great, do moan about that, but like, we're right here making what you're asking us to make. And then people complain about the budget and all sorts, and it's like, well, mate, do you want us to be with a big publisher where we get told what to do, where Sweet Baby Inc. are brought in to tell me to fuck off, or do you want me to write it for you? Which do you want there? Because, you know, we've got to get money from somewhere, be it a crowdfunder, be it our own pockets, be it private investors that we know living up in the Swiss Alps. You know, we got to go this sort of James Bond route to get stuff done. And people aren't there for it. People don't support, you know, whereas people like Dave Martell, he's been there from the beginning, supporting us, using his voice on his channel to say, look at these guys, look at what they do. And it's no mistake that Dave Martell creates. He makes books, right? He does short stories, he does everything pulp. And then, as you just said, you're making a podcast, you're doing stuff, and you're the guy with the nous to say, I'm going to get them on. I bet not enough people are asking them, and I can probably get them on and talk to them about this stuff. Definitely. Counterculture is phenomenally important. It should never be underestimated.
Very, very well said. Yeah, and I mean, I know you get a lot of stuff. Like there's some people in our our chats who are like, oh yeah, you should get this guy on because he's like playing games just makes you you know, worthless, and you just waste your time forever. It's like, dude, I'm enjoying a thing, and like, listen, okay, you're over here blackpilling about how everything is horrible and how I'm wasting my time, whatever, but you're sitting out here in like a shack with your cats complaining. I'm over here with literally more than a handful of children winning, sir.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
all right, Mick.
Yep. But yeah, no, this is that was all very great.
I don't know what you've been talking my episodes, but one thing I just wanted to say still regarding, you know, making our own stuff and creating and engaging with these things, even if people say it's a waste of time. You know, I've been thinking about that recently. When my kid, he's 4 years old now, when he, you know, grows up, he will of course be confronted. What you said is very correct. I cannot always just show him the Lord of the Rings trilogy all these years. So he will be confronted with all that stuff, and he will see all these, I don't know, probably somebody else will show him some stupid slop games and whatnot. But at least I can, you know, make my own games. I can make him play my games. He actually is quite interested already in watching me make them. And yeah, when I show him Dwerghold, then he's always asking me to, you know, show him that game with the spooky creatures. He thinks they're quite neat. So I think that will give me a certain, you know, authority in later in basically, you know, guiding him what is slop, and, you know, what is of low quality, what is shit.
Yeah.
What is better. That's more than if I'm just an old, you know, if I'm just a boomer who just complains about stuff and says like, that's all garbage. Yeah, well then he will probably be like, whatever, old man, shut up, you don't know anything, you know. But
the future is now, old man.
Yeah, basically. But, you know,
yeah,
I think I'm in a better position to speak about these things to my own kid because I do the things I do.
Absolutely. And I'm like, okay, doing this podcast, you know, following along with you guys and all that, like, I've had to start learning myself how to edit videos, do picture editing and all that. And one thing my kid likes, he likes watching YouTube videos and such. But what he really enjoys is like when I can go ahead and be like, hey, bud, here, come watch this. And then when he watches, like, what's that? Oh, that's Daddy's. Daddy made that. Or I'll do something where like he loves Elden Ring. So I'll take a picture of him and I'll edit him into the picture, make it look like he's about to fight like Pilsudasax or something, you know?
I think that's cool. Yeah, I think that's generally a great approach to the whole thing, instead of just trying to, I don't know, like shield your children and you know, not expose them to anything, which will just not work. Basically, you know, have them, like let them grow up with a certain control over the whole thing, and then you know, shape it to some extent. You know, you be the one who shapes it, and not just be a completely passive like object.
Exactly. Like if you don't, if we don't create the culture, like our kids are going to engage with culture. We can either make it and shape it, or we can do what's happened, because as we've seen in the past, is older generations were all like, politics is the only thing that matters, you know, finance is the only thing that matters, that kind of thing. Are you a senator? Are you a big-time bank manager or something? That's all that matters. But then as we see, what happens is everything from movies, video games, D&D, books, music, all this stuff got taken over, and now everything that's presented as art and culture is awful.
Yeah, I mean it's the classic fallacy that conservatives
Yes.
you know, fell into all this time. They just saw all this stuff all this leftist stuff. They saw it as you know, nonsense and crazy, and surely nobody will take that serious. And you know, they concentrated on the things they thought were serious. And suddenly they wake up in a world where, you know, there are trannies exist, and you're not allowed to, you know.
Yeah, you're not allowed to question things. You're not allowed to say things. Like,
Yeah, and
well,
then
how
you're
did
like,
this
how
happen?
did it happen? How did it come to this? You know?
Everyone in
Well,
2015, right? Everyone said when the universities, you had these people go into them, be it Shapiro or whoever, and the universities were saying, oh, there's 72 genders and things. Everyone just laughed and said, wait until they'd reach the workplace. They reached the workplace and they pressured the
And now they-
workplace.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now
yeah.
they're the one firing you.
And they are now in the HR department, and you have to do whatever they say, or you will lose your job. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, I remember I was one of the people who just laughed at it, just thinking that will never happen once they leave uni. That will never happen. And sure enough, like 3 years later, I was at work and got the email like, please put your pronouns in your bio and stuff at work. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I saw
yeah.
all
Now
this
it's
coming.
the only thing that does happen.
Yeah, and then that's because we start allowing them to create everything from, obviously, movies, like video games. Like we said, like, okay, you take like the original Deus Ex, all right? You take that, and we call it the original Red Pill because there was so much stuff, like literally just do a mean cut of Deus Ex. It's like, let me tell you about all the FEMA camps. You know, and all these different things that are going on. You're like, oh, they just made that up for the game. No, that's real. That's some real stuff that they put in there. Just as, like, two homeless people talking about it on the street in Deus Ex. That you just listen to that stuff.
Yeah.
We need to get back to that kind of game.
I actually recently started another playthrough because there's a new mod, a new version of the GMDX, the Give Me Deus Ex mod, came out recently, and I started a new playthrough. It's really good. I recommend the mod to everyone. And, yeah, I don't know. Every time I play that game, it just, you know, baffles me what's in there. You know.
Yep.
I know, right? That game and Metal Gear, if you release them now,
Oh, yeah.
the shit you'd get. And then you look at Kojima as well, right? And he's like, oh yeah, the big baddie in my new game is literally called APAC. Oh, that's fine. But if I was to do that, I'm probably banned in Germany. Keir Starmer's going to knock on my door.
Yeah.
So that's really weird. But we have this concept as well, right? And this kind of sort of summarizes what we're talking about. In the Orthodox Church, we've got catechism. Catechism is like how you get taught how to behave in church, what the creed is, how to pray, whatever. Even things like don't cross your legs in church because it's feminine, things like that. So catechism is everything you need to prepare yourself for church. But we always refer as well to the Devil's Catechism, which is like people will rock up, they're a convert, they're 23 or something, they're a base lad, and it's like you've just spent 23 years in the Devil's Catechism. You have been watching their slop, their brainwashing, their view of how the world should be. You know, you come to it with like these relativist presuppositions or something. You're not ready for the idea of like objective morality, or you've just started to get there and you start to really get invested in those kinds of ideas in philosophy, Christian philosophy, whatever. But I think the Devil's Catechism is really real, and that's fundamentally what you guys are talking about. Is like, even if you don't show them this stuff, they will go to school and they will get it elsewhere. It's like my niece, she was watching like Peppa Pig and stuff, and you think, oh, Peppa Pig, what's the problem with that? Well, she learned to be really rebellious from Peppa Pig, and she was like stomping and saying, no, Daddy, I want this, I want that. So they were like, look, we're banning Peppa Pig in this household, which a lot of British people have done. And sure enough, that behavior ended. And it's like, yeah, you've got to watch out for the Devil's Catechism, right? So we have to make our own catechism.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very interesting because, like, I'm listening to you say this as I'm looking at this dude just looking back and forth with the visors, and it's like, dude, this is like the perfect setup.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, whatever we make, we've been, as I said, we've been talking about this. Whatever we make, it will be infused with our view of things, and it will be infused with the fact that we want to make something that is actually good, you know, that is not wasting people's lives. It is not rotting their brains. I think that's really what we need to focus on. That's probably more important than trying to put in like explicit political messages or something.
Yeah, it's like
Because we'll just
Twerkhold,
have-
right? The worries about a mobile game. The fact is, if we wanted to make a gotcha mobile game, we could have done that years ago. We could have very easily made a mobile game that forces you to get crystals and stuff. You know, we've got a guy on the team who used to handle the economics of a mobile game because the economics are very complex. But it's actually how do you keep a currency from stop it from inflating in game and things like that, so that people actually keep spending on your game. We have all the people necessary to do that game, and we've chosen not to. So we could have had a hell of a lot of money a while ago.
Yep.
I still hope we will get a hell of a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Everybody should.
But I just think you
absolutely.
can do it. Like absolutely, everybody should have. Everybody, But I still think again, perhaps naively, but I think you can do it without being a scumbag.
There's a royal path, right? There's a royal path, and we walk the royal path. We could just be a scumbag, get the shit money easily, and we could do it via the Devil's Catechism, selling people all the shit that the Devil's always trying to sell them. But instead, you take the royal path, and that's the route we're going, is like give people stuff that's actually got soul in it, that's actually got creatives who care about where this stuff comes from, how it's made, how it's actually done ethically, all of that from a right-wing perspective. That's what you put out. You take that higher path. We could have taken the easy path ages ago. We could have given in to the temptations of the dark side.
Yeah, absolutely. So I recommend everybody. Yeah, go ahead, Courier.
I was gonna say I'm reminded of a quote from Jade Empire, that old BioWare Kung Fu RPG on like the original Xbox. And obviously I don't have the wording right because I played the game like 20 years ago, but the gist of it is there's the simple known path that is easy, it's not dangerous, but it only pays the wage of a cook, versus the path you don't know, which is treacherous, fraught with danger, long and difficult, but pays the wage of a scholar.
Yeah, 100%. And there you are with the yellow fever again.
Oh,
Well,
You gotta understand,
you know
I'm an Englishman, so like Welsh are too exotic for us.
Yeah.
In Europe, it's like, you're with a Latvian and it's like, holy shit, that's not white. It's like, it's white.
Oh no!
Yeah, he says that because I'm married to a Latvian, and it's hilarious.
Well, it goes to show that Courier's yellow fever apparently started back when he was 7, because he was playing it 20 years ago.
We do gotta look at Edmund's historical heritage, though. They conquered the entire planet to get all the exotic flavors, and then decided they don't like flavor in their food.
Yeah, but now that we've got the recipes, sausage roll.
Yep.
Just go to Greg's.
Guess you just objectively decided that this is the best. It's just better than everything.
We did. We finished off, and then we went, you know what? This beans on toast. That's bloody lovely. That is bloody lovely. Then we sold the empire to the Americans. We don't need this anymore. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Austrian. Like the time we had an empire. It was a long time ago, and now I'm in this tiny country, and I don't know. I'm just focusing on Mozart and I don't know other famous people from Austria.
Yep.
Anyway.
But okay, guys, appreciate you guys staying on longer. Everybody, go to the Indiegogo right now. Do the €100, 118 USD. Let's get this game happening. I'm getting beta access to this game for sure. Anybody wants to send us money so I can get Courier on that, I'd appreciate it. Other than that, guys, Roland, Edmund, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's been fun. I was quite surprised when you're like, "Oh yeah, we'll go on your show." Like, holy crap, you will?
Well, yeah. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah. We're in the big leagues now, Courier.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I looked at Odyssey. We've got like 4 or 5 times the normal amount of viewers right now. So.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
We'll hit you up in the future. We'll do another show another day, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Anytime you want to do it, just let us know.
Cool.
All right.
Cool stuff. Thank you very much. It's been awesome.
All right, guys.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yep. Everybody, go. As we always say at the end of this, game responsibly. Don't consume slop. Vote with your dollar. Support actual game companies that make good games.
For example, Cult Games.
Yes. the primary example here, and make white babies.